iPhone 14. This has been out for a few weeks now, and of course it's been my daily. I've had the chance to get used to it and settle into the new but minor design changes. So let's get right into it. Dynamic Island, the new big change to the iPhone that so far has felt like a minor change. I say that sort of as a shot at Apple, but also to praise them. Let me start out with the good. The new Dynamic Island is what separates the Pro lineup from the older models. Personally, I think this pill-shaped cutout looks way better than the notch. It's much more discreet, and what Apple did with it in software is really impressive. There is so much attention to detail with every animation, and most of what's going on around the Dynamic Island is either fun or useful. With music, you get the album artwork, waveform, and if you long press, you get your controls, which I think is way easier than swiping down on your control center and changing it there. I also think it looks way cleaner, and if you press it, it will take you to the music app. You can also have multiple things going on. For example, if you're listening to music and you decide to start a timer, then it will split it and you'll have both of them up there. For maps, you get directions on the Dynamic Island. When you airdrop, you get a nice little status bar. Phone calls gives you a nice little waveform and the time you've been on the call. When you use Face ID, you get a nice little animation. Charging gives you a little status bar. All of these are fun and impressive, but that's about where it ends for now. Which leads me to the bad, the minor change, the shot at Apple. After using it for a few weeks, it doesn't really feel that different. I've gotten used to the animation, the Dynamic Island, and the new iOS features. When I first heard about the Dynamic Island, I thought it was going to be a huge change like Face ID, and I think it still can be because it does have a lot of potential. Developers just haven't had the chance to catch up. In Apple's defense, they did such a good job at integrating it so seamlessly that it made it seem like less drastic of a change. And for those who hate change, that's a good thing. But I think that it will get new features and updates that will make it just as fun and useful as what we have now. But also, who knows, maybe this is just a transition between the cutouts to no cutouts on future phones. Next, we have the battery. I am upgrading from the 12 Pro, so to me, this new battery is a massive upgrade. My normal day usually starts around 7 a.m., then from 9 to 6, I am at work, where I use this phone all day long. From YouTube videos to music, podcasts, checking emails, texts, it rarely gets any downtime. And most of the day I am listening to YouTube videos, which means it is not off. On my way home, it does get a little charge since it is connected to Apple CarPlay, and for the rest of the night, it is usually lighter use with more YouTube videos, content creation with the camera, checking emails, texts, and typically I go to bed about 20 to 40% battery life left. Now I have turned off the always on display because I don't think that the battery hit is worth it. Overall, I think this battery is amazing compared to what I had before, but I still want more. I want to be able to use that always on display and still have about 20 to 30% at the end of the night while still using it heavily like I do now. If battery is an issue on your older models, then I would consider upgrading to the 14 or even the 13 Pro Max. Next, we have the cameras, another big improvement from the 12 Pro, specifically the ultra wide, which to me is the most fun lens to use. It gives you more of a unique look than the standard lens. However, on the 12 Pro, it was rough in low light. On this new 14 Pro Max, you can still see some grain depending on how dark it is, but in my dark studio without all my lights on, it does still get a pretty clean image, which my 12 could not. For photos, it does have a new 48 megapixel sensor that you can take advantage of if you shoot in ProRAW. Just keep in mind that these are big files and you don't really need them unless you're going to do some heavy editing on these pictures. Personally, I don't use the iPhone for much photography, so this sensor is nice, but I'm more excited about the low light capabilities. iOS 16 is a fun redesign that gives you a lot more customization and options. In these new lock screens, you can change the font, the color, and you can add or remove widgets, and even have multiple lock screens throughout the day, which is kind of nice. So if you're someone who gets bored easily, this is perfect for you. You can even have a lock screen that shuffles images for you. It's a nice little change, but I will say it feels a little strange coming from Apple. For maps, it finally adds stops. I am usually pretty understanding of why Apple doesn't add certain features, but this one was one I couldn't defend, and I'm just happy that it's finally an option. There are some interesting but awesome features in iOS 16, like being able to copy and paste text from video, being able to remove background from images, which is crazy and could be a game changer if you're someone that uses this a lot, like YouTubers. You can edit and unsend iMessages, which is pretty cool, and you can also unsend emails. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the new iOS and all the features. A few extra features that the 14 has is it has crash detection, so if you happen to get in an accident, your phone should be able to notify authorities. And if you get lost without service, you should be able to connect to their satellite and send a message for help. These two features are nice to have, but hopefully I don't need to use them. No more SIM card trays, which I actually don't mind. It was super easy to transfer via eSIM. Took me just a few seconds. Lastly, one of my favorite features, MagSafe, still on there. I don't think there are any changes to it. I just love being able to add a pop socket or add a MagSafe wallet. I also got the Apple case, and if you're crazy enough to pay $50 for this case, then you can see the iPhone detect what color it is, which is kind of cool, unnecessary, and overpriced. That is my little review and thoughts on the iPhone 14 Pro Max after a few weeks of use. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Consider hitting the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to see a review on the Apple Watch Ultra. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.